Welcome to the post-class recap for atomic structure. And as we learned in class, atoms are made up of smaller particles, and the three main ones that we're concerned about in chemistry are the proton, and the neutron, and the electron. And the electron is the smallest one. It's very light. So if you look at the masses, proton and neutron are about the same mass, about 1 AMU, but the electron, much smaller mass. And so the organization of the atom is that the proton and the neutron are localized in the nucleus at the center of the atom, and the electron is what's around the outside, and that's actually what interacts with other forms of matter. And so here we have a nice little picture of an atom, and so here's the nucleus right in the center, and the electron is kind of buzzing around to form what's called an electron cloud. The nucleus is made up of the two different particles, the proton and the proton with the positive charge and the neutron with no charge. Well, what makes an element is the number of protons in the nucleus, right? So hydrogen has 1 proton in the nucleus, its atomic number is 1, the charge in the nucleus is 1. So how about for helium? How many protons in the nucleus for helium?
I'm going to go with 2. I think there would be 2.
Right, so there are 2 protons in the nucleus of helium. But helium also has neutrons in the nucleus, and that adds mass to the nucleus, that adds mass to the atom, but doesn't really change it other than that. And so helium has one form that has 2 protons in the nucleus and 2 neutrons in the nucleus. And so to get the total mass, you have to add those up, right? 2 protons, 2 neutrons, 4 of these particles in the nucleus, so it's got a mass of approximately 4. There's another isotope of helium, right? It's helium, so it still has 2 protons, but this isotope is called helium-3. So how many neutrons are there in that nucleus?
I'm going to go with 3.
3 neutrons, okay. So let's think about that. Helium-3, its mass is 3, so there are 3 particles in the nucleus, but it still has 2 protons in the nucleus, right? So really the difference in the mass and the number of protons is going to be the number of neutrons. So let's think about that again.
Yeah.
So
Let's
3.
reverse. So I'm going to go with 1 this time.
Ah, okay. So that's that. There we go. 1 neutron. So protons plus neutrons is the mass number. Some isotopes are stable. And so, for example, helium-4 and helium-3 are stable isotopes. But we know some elements have unstable isotopes. For example, can you think of an element that has unstable isotopes?
Well, any radioactive element might have unstable isotopes?
Yeah, radioactive elements have unstable isotopes. That's what makes them radioactive. So, for example, uranium has an isotope, uranium-235, that's radioactive. And it'll actually fall apart to form smaller nuclei in a process called fission. There are some elements that have both stable and unstable. So for example, carbon-14 is an unstable nucleus. It decomposes through a radioactive process. But there's also carbon-12 and carbon-13, which are stable nucleuses and don't decompose. So that's all I have for the post-class recap. Thanks for listening.